He received a photo from his new number. In the picture was himself, sleeping in his bed, taken just minutes ago. I changed my number 3 days ago. New carrier, new SIM card. Only 2 people knew it. Tonight at 2:42 a.m., a message arrived from an unknown number. Look. There was a photo attached. I opened it, and a chill ran through me. The picture showed me sleeping. The photo was taken from a corner of my room. From the shadows. I jumped out of bed and turned on the light. Looked around. The room was empty. The door was closed. Windows locked. But the photo. I examined the details. The blanket was rumpled exactly as it was now. The t-shirt I was sleeping in. The photo had just been taken. My hands trembled as I dialed the sender's number. It rang. And then. The call dropped. And I received another message. Don't look for me. I rushed to the door, checked the locks. Everything was intact. No one could have entered. So who took this picture? I called the police. An officer arrived 20 minutes later. He looked at me, then at the photo. Do you live alone? Yes. He checked the front door, looked under the bed, in the bathroom, even on the balcony. No break-in, no traces either. Maybe someone left a camera. He examined the room but found nothing. Are you sure you didn't set up automatic photo taking? What? I looked at him. You know, an app that takes pictures at certain intervals. I didn't install anything like that. He shrugged. If you receive something strange again, call us. He left. I was alone again. I turned on my laptop, accessed the phone number database. Entered the one from which the message came. Result, this number belongs to you. I read it again. To me. I opened my phone settings. There were 2 SIM cards in the list. One active. And the second, deactivated, but with the same number. I didn't buy a second SIM. Who activated it then? I turned on the front camera, looked at myself. And then a new message arrived. You found me. If someone was using my number, then who was using my phone? The screen of my phone dimmed as I stared at those 3 words. You found me. A wave of nausea washed over me, and I placed the device screen down on my nightstand. The digital clock read 3:17 a.m. The red numbers seemed to pulse with each beat of my racing heart. Detective Reyes had left less than 15 minutes ago, promising to file a report but offering little hope of action. Probably just a prank, Mr. Mercer, he had said with the practiced indifference of someone who had seen actual crime. We get calls like this all the time. Kids with too much tech knowledge and not enough supervision. But this didn't feel like a prank. Not at 3 a.m., not with a photo of me sleeping in my own bed, and certainly not with a phantom SIM card somehow registered to my number. My apartment on the 8th floor of the Westview complex had always felt secure. Single entrance door with a deadbolt and chain, windows that didn't open more than 6 inches due to child safety regulations, despite the building being mostly occupied by young professionals like myself. I had moved in after my divorce from Elaine 8 months ago, seeking the anonymity of a large complex where neighbors barely acknowledged each other beyond a perfunctory nod in the elevator. The only people who had my new number were my boss, Richard, and my sister, Kate. I trusted both implicitly, but my paranoia was making me question everything. I pulled up my phone and dialed Kate first. Alex? Her voice was thick with sleep. It's the middle of the night. What's wrong? Hey, sorry to wake you. Quick question, did you share my new phone number with anyone? A pause. No. Why would I? You only changed it 3 days ago because of, well, you know. I did know. My ex-wife's increasingly frequent check-in calls had become unbearable. The divorce had been her idea, but she seemed incapable of letting go completely, calling at odd hours, just to talk, each conversation inevitably circling back to what went wrong. Changing my number had been a last resort. After blocking her didn't work, she just used different phones. Thanks. Sorry for waking you. Go back to sleep. Alex, what's going on? You sound weird. It's nothing. Probably. I'll call you tomorrow. I hung up before she could press further and considered calling Richard, but it seemed unlikely my 58-year-old boss who still used a BlackBerry would be playing elaborate technological pranks. My laptop screen still displayed the phone carrier's database results. It insisted the number that texted me belonged to me, a digital doppelganger sending me pictures of myself. I opened my phone settings again and stared at the 2 SIM entries. The inactive SIM showed last activity at 2:42 a.m., exactly when I received the first message. I tapped it, and a prompt appeared, activate this SIM. My finger hovered over the screen. What would happen if I did? Would I be opening a door to something I couldn't close? A soft sound from the bathroom made me freeze. A dripping faucet, nothing more, but my nerves were so frayed that even the normal sounds of the apartment seemed sinister. I stood up slowly, crossed the room, and pushed the bathroom door fully open. Empty, of course. Back at my desk, I made a decision. I tapped yes to activate the second SIM. My phone immediately shut down. When it rebooted, there was only one SIM showing, marked as active. But the number had changed, it was now the one that had texted me. Before I could process what was happening, a new message appeared. Why did you change your number? I stared at the notification. It had come from my own number, the one I had been using for the past 3 days, the one that only 2 people knew. My fingers hovered over the keyboard. Should I respond? Was I actually having a conversation with myself? I typed, "Who is this?" The response came immediately, "You know who this is." I felt a chill that had nothing to do with the air conditioning. "No, I don't." 3 dots appeared as the unknown sender typed, then, "Look in the mirror." I involuntarily glanced at the bathroom door, still ajar, the edge of the mirror visible from where I sat. Was someone in my apartment after all? I grabbed a heavy desk lamp, unplugging it to use as a makeshift weapon, and slowly approached the bathroom. Standing in the doorway, I reached for the light switch and flipped it on. The fluorescent bulb flickered twice before steadying. The bathroom was empty. Just me, pale and wide-eyed, reflected in the mirror above the sink. I exhaled shakily, lowering the lamp. My phone chimed with another message, "Do you see now?" I looked down at my phone, then back at my reflection. Nothing unusual. Just me, in my rumpled t-shirt, hair disheveled from sleep and stress, dark circles forming under my eyes. Then I noticed something on the bathroom counter. A small black object, no bigger than a button. I leaned closer. A camera lens. Tiny, nearly invisible against the dark granite, but unmistakably a lens. My phone chimed again, "I see everything you see." I picked up the device with trembling fingers. It was smaller than my thumbnail, a marvel of miniaturization. How long had it been there? I thought back to the photo of me sleeping. The angle had been from above, not from the bathroom. Were there more of these? I returned to my bedroom and methodically began searching, finding nothing until I reached the smoke detector. There, nestled alongside the legitimate components, was another tiny camera. And in the living room light fixture, a third. My phone buzzed continuously now. Looking in all the wrong places. I'm not in your apartment. I'm closer than that. I'm with you always. I sat heavily on the edge of my bed, the room spinning slightly. Someone had been watching me. For how long? Days? Weeks? Since I moved in. The police. I needed to call the police again, show them the cameras. This wasn't paranoia, this was evidence. I reached for my phone and dialed 911. 911, what's your emergency? My name is Alexander Mercer. I live at 825 Westview Apartments. Someone has placed cameras in my apartment and is sending me pictures of myself sleeping. Sir, are you in immediate danger? I don't know. Maybe. I found hidden cameras in my phone beeped with an incoming call. The number displayed was my old number, the one I had just 3 days ago. Elaine's call forwarding tricks again. I ignored it. Sir. Are you still there? Yes, sorry. I found hidden cameras in my apartment. Multiple ones. We'll send an officer to your location. Please stay on the line. My phone beeped again, more insistently. Not a call this time, but a system notification, memory full. That was odd. I had plenty of storage. I pulled the phone away from my ear to check. Sir. Mr. Mercer. Yes, I'm here. Sorry, something's wrong with my phone. I navigated to my storage settings while keeping the 911 operator on the line. The largest category was system data, taking up nearly 14 gigabytes. I tapped on it to see details. What appeared was not a list of system files but a video player. And the thumbnail for the video was my own face, from an angle I didn't recognize, looking down at me, as if the camera were mounted on the ceiling. Mr. Mercer, officers are en route to your location. Please stay on the line. The operator's voice seemed distant now as I stared at the video thumbnail. Without thinking, I tapped it. The video began playing. It showed me, asleep in my bed, from last night. The timestamp in the corner read 2:30 a.m. Then it switched to a different angle, me in the kitchen yesterday evening, making a sandwich. Another switch, me at my computer, working. Another, me in the shower. Dozens of videos, all of me, all from the past week, all from cameras I hadn't known existed until tonight. But the most disturbing part wasn't the invasion of privacy, it was that all these videos were stored on my own phone. In its system memory. My phone had been watching me. Mr. Mercer. Are you still there? Officers should be arriving in approximately 5 minutes. I couldn't speak. My phone continued cycling through videos of my private life, each tagged with precise timestamps. Finally, I managed to whisper, someone's been recording me. For days. And storing it on my own phone. Sir, please try to remain calm. Help is on the way. A new message appeared over the video, it's not someone. It's you. I nearly dropped the phone. What do you mean it's me? I said aloud, forgetting momentarily about the 911 operator. Sir. Who are you talking to? Another message, check your cloud backup. Check what you've been sharing. With trembling fingers, I opened my cloud settings. The sync was on, automatically backing up all data to my account. But there was another account listed as a family share recipient, an email address I didn't recognize, alex.mercer2@gmail.com. Sir, officers are pulling up to your building now. I barely heard her. I was staring at an email address one digit away from my own, receiving every photo, every video, every piece of data from my phone. But I hadn't set up this sharing. I hadn't created that account. A final message appeared, I'm not in the apartment. I'm in your pocket. I've always been there. We've been sharing everything. A sharp knock on my door made me jump. Police. Mr. Mercer. I walked to the door in a daze, phone still clutched in my hand, screen still displaying that last cryptic message. I deactivated the alarm system and opened the door to find 2 officers, one of whom I recognized as Detective Reyes from earlier. Mr. Mercer, he said, eyebrows raised. Called us back so soon. I wordlessly held up one of the tiny cameras I'd collected. I found these. All over my apartment. And look. I showed him my phone, the videos, the mysterious shared account. The officers exchanged glances. The younger one stepped inside and began examining the cameras I'd gathered. "These are high-end," he said after a moment. "Military grade. Not the kind of thing you can just buy online." Detective Reyes was scrolling through my phone, his expression growing increasingly troubled. "And you say these videos were stored on your own device? Not sent from elsewhere?" "Yes. In system storage where I wouldn't normally look." He handed the phone back. "We'll need to take these cameras in as evidence. And I'd like you to come to the station tomorrow to file a full report. In the meantime, is there somewhere else you can stay tonight?" The thought of leaving felt like giving up, but staying seemed impossible. "I could go to my sister's. I think that would be best. Pack what you need. We'll wait." As I gathered some clothes and toiletries, the younger officer continued searching the apartment, eventually calling Detective Reyes over to the window. They spoke in hushed tones, occasionally glancing in my direction. "Mr. Mercer," Detective Reyes finally said, "did you know there's a small device attached to your window? It looks like a signal booster of some kind." I shook my head. "I've never seen it before." He carefully detached the small black box from the window frame. "This is sophisticated equipment. Someone went to a lot of trouble and expense to monitor you." "But why me? I'm nobody important. I'm just a graphic designer for a small marketing firm." "That's what we're going to find out." Detective Reyes placed the device in an evidence bag. "Sometimes these cases turn out to be mistaken identity. Other times." He trailed off, not needing to complete the thought. "Other times, it was personal. Very personal." They escorted me to my car, promising to secure my apartment and continue the investigation. As I started the engine, my phone chimed with one final message: "Leaving won't help. I know where your sister lives too." I stared at the screen, a cold sweat breaking out across my forehead. The younger officer tapped on my window. "Everything okay, sir?" I nodded mechanically, putting the phone face down on the passenger seat. "Fine. Just tired." As I drove away, I glanced in the rearview mirror at my apartment building. Was someone watching me even now? And more disturbing, was I somehow, unknowingly, complicit in my own surveillance? The drive to Kate's place took 20 minutes. Every traffic light seemed to last an eternity, every other driver a potential threat. I kept the radio off, unwilling to mask any sounds that might alert me to danger. Twice I pulled over to check if I was being followed, but the late-night streets were nearly empty. Kate was waiting at the door in a bathrobe, her expression a mixture of concern and irritation. "Alex, what's going on? It's almost 4 in the morning." I brushed past her into the apartment, checking windows, closing blinds. "I think someone's stalking me. The police are involved." She followed me, arms crossed. "Stalking you? Who?" "I don't know. But they've been watching me, recording me. They put cameras in my apartment." Kate's expression softened from irritation to worry. "Sit down. You look terrible. When was the last time you slept properly?" The question caught me off guard. "What?" "I don't know. A few days ago, I guess." She guided me to her couch. "Stay here. I'll make some tea." While Kate busied herself in the kitchen, I checked my phone again. No new messages, but the last one still glowed ominously on the screen: "I know where your sister lives too." I should warn her, tell her everything. But would she believe me? Would anyone? The story sounded paranoid even to my own ears: phantom SIM cards, hidden cameras, mysterious doppelganger email accounts. Kate returned with 2 steaming mugs. "So tell me everything. Start from the beginning." I did, watching her face carefully for signs of disbelief. To her credit, she listened without interruption, her expression growing more troubled with each detail. "Have you considered," she said finally, placing her mug on the coffee table, "that this might not be a stranger?" "What do you mean?" "Well, who would have access to your personal information? Who might know enough about your habits to predict where you'd be and when?" I shook my head. "Only you and Richard know my new number." "And Elaine?" I blinked. "No, she doesn't. That's why I changed it. To get away from her." Kate gave me a look that was half pity, half exasperation. "Alex, I talked to her last week. She called me looking for you, and I gave her your new number. I thought you two were working things out." The room seemed to tilt slightly. "You, what?" "Kate, she's been harassing me for months." "Why would you?" "She wasn't harassing you. She was worried about you. Said you've been acting strange, paranoid. And honestly, showing up at my door at 4 a.m. talking about hidden cameras and stalkers isn't exactly proving her wrong." My mouth opened and closed without sound. Finally, I managed, "She told you I was paranoid?" "She's the one who wouldn't leave me alone after the divorce." Kate's expression hardened. "The divorce she didn't want? The one you pushed for because you were convinced she was suffocating you? Alex, you've been pushing away everyone who cares about you for months. Your friends, me, Elaine, we're all apparently invading your privacy or monitoring you or whatever the latest complaint is." I stood up abruptly. "So you think I'm making this up? You think there weren't cameras in my apartment? That the police aren't investigating right now? I think," she said carefully, "that you've been under a lot of stress. And lack of sleep can do strange things to a person's mind." I pulled out my phone. "Look at these messages. Look at the videos stored on my own phone that I didn't record." Kate took the device, scrolled through it for several long moments, then handed it back with a sigh. "There are no messages from an unknown number, Alex. And the only videos here are ones you took yourself at Natalie's birthday party last month." I snatched the phone back. She was right. The messages were gone. The videos too. All of it vanished. "That's not possible," I whispered. "They were just here. Someone deleted them. Or they were never there." Kate's voice was gentle now, the way one might speak to a frightened child. "Alex, when was the last time you saw Dr. Lowenthal?" "Dr. Lowenthal? My psychiatrist from 2 years ago, after the accident that had nearly killed me, and had killed my friend Marcus. The accident that had left me with occasional memory lapses and a prescription for anti-anxiety medication I'd stopped taking months ago." "This has nothing to do with that," I said sharply. "I'm not having an episode. This is real." Kate reached for her own phone. "I'm going to call Elaine. She should know what's happening." "Don't." I reached for her phone, but she pulled back, startled by my vehemence. "Please. Just, let me sort this out first." She hesitated, then nodded. "Fine. But you need to sleep. Take the guest room. We'll figure this out in the morning." Sleep seemed impossible, but exhaustion was catching up with me. I allowed Kate to show me to her spare bedroom, accepting a glass of water and 2 small pills I recognized as my old medication. "Just to help you relax," she said. Alone in the dark room, I stared at the ceiling, mind racing despite my fatigue. Something wasn't adding up. If Elaine had my new number, why would she text me from an unknown number? Why the elaborate surveillance? And how had all the evidence vanished from my phone? I reached for it again, checking one more time. Still nothing. No strange messages, no videos. But when I opened my settings to check for the phantom SIM card, I found something else, an app one didn't recognize, tucked away in a folder I rarely used. Memory Monitor, it was called. The icon was nondescript, easy to overlook. I tapped it. The screen filled with a simple interface, monitoring active and a toggle switch set to on. Below were options for data collection, cloud sync, and notification suppression. With a growing sense of unease, I tapped on data collection. A list appeared: photos, videos, location data, contacts, messages, all with checkmarks beside them. Cloud sync showed that same mysterious email, alex.mercer2@gmail.com, with a steady stream of data being uploaded. And notification suppression explained why I'd never noticed the app before. It was designed to hide itself, operating silently in the background, invisible to the user. I tried to uninstall it, but a prompt appeared: administrator privileges required. Please enter password. A password I didn't know for an app one hadn't installed. My head throbbed. The medication was making it hard to think clearly. I closed my eyes, just for a moment, telling myself I would deal with this after a short rest. I dreamed of cameras with blinking red lights, of phones that spoke in my own voice, of mirrors that showed someone else's reflection. And in the dream, I heard my own voice whisper, "You found me." When I awoke, sunlight was streaming through unfamiliar curtains. Kate's guest room. I had slept deeply, without my usual restlessness. The medication had done its job. My phone was where I'd left it on the nightstand, but something was different. The screen protector had a small crack in the corner that hadn't been there before. Had I damaged it in my sleep? I unlocked it, immediately checking for the Memory Monitor app. It was gone. Had I dreamed that too? A text notification appeared, from Elaine. Kate called. Coming over. Need to talk. My ex-wife was on her way here. To talk about what? My supposed paranoia. The fact that I'd fled my apartment in the middle of the night, convinced I was being watched. I got up, splashed water on my face, and ventured into the kitchen where Kate was making coffee. Morning, she said cautiously. Feeling any better? I'm not sure, I answered honestly. Did you use my phone last night after I fell asleep? She frowned. No. Why? The screen's cracked. And there was an app one found, but now it's gone. Kate's expression shifted from concern to something harder to read. Alex, I think we need to talk about what's been happening with you lately. Not just last night, but the past few months. Before I could respond, there was a knock at the door. Kate went to answer it, and moments later, Elaine walked in. My ex-wife looked exactly as I remembered, petite, with wavy brown hair and eyes that always seemed to be evaluating. She wore simple jeans and a blue blouse, no makeup. The sight of her sent a complicated mix of emotions through me: resentment, nostalgia, and something like relief. Alex, she said simply. Kate told me what happened. I stiffened. And what version did she tell you? Elaine exchanged a glance with my sister. That you're having episodes again. That you think someone's watching you, recording you. It's not an episode, I insisted, though with less conviction than before. Someone installed cameras in my apartment. The police are investigating. Elaine sat across from me at the kitchen table. I called Detective Reyes this morning. My stomach dropped. How do you know his name? I never mentioned. Because he called me, Alex. After the incident 3 weeks ago. What incident? I just met him last night. Elaine's eyes filled with tears. No, honey. You've called the police 4 times in the past month. Always with the same story, that someone is watching you, that there are cameras in your apartment. The room seemed to spin. That's not possible. I changed my number 3 days ago. I got the first message last night. You haven't changed your number, Alex. You've had the same number for years. She reached for her phone, showed me her recent calls. There was my name, with the same number I'd always had, not the new one I was certain I'd gotten just days ago. I don't understand, I whispered. After your accident, Elaine said gently, Dr. Lowenthal warned us this might happen. Episodes where you become convinced someone is monitoring you. It's part of the traumatic brain injury. And when you stop taking your medication. My accident. The head injury. Marcus dying while I walked away with a concussion and some short-term memory issues. Issues that Dr. Lowenthal had said might manifest in unusual ways as my brain continued to heal. But the text messages, I insisted. The photo of me sleeping. Kate and Elaine exchanged another look. We found something on your phone last time, Kate said carefully. An app that was taking automated photos at set intervals. You installed it yourself, Alex. To monitor your sleep patterns after the accident. But the cameras in my apartment were your own security cameras, Elaine finished. You installed them 3 months ago because you thought someone was breaking in. The police checked the footage. No one entered your apartment. My world was collapsing around me. And the second SIM card? The duplicate email account? Kate placed her hand over mine. There's no second SIM, Alex. And that email account, alex.mercer2, is your recovery email. You set it up years ago. I shook my head, unable to process what they were saying. No. No, this isn't right. Someone is doing this to me. Making me think I'm going crazy. No one's doing anything to you, Elaine said, her voice breaking. Your brain is healing, but it's taking detours sometimes. Creating connections that aren't there. Then why does it feel so real? My voice sounded small, even to my own ears. Because that's how our brains work, she replied. They try to make sense of things, even when the pieces don't fit. It's like a dream, it feels completely real while you're in it. I looked down at my phone, the cracked screen reflecting the kitchen light. So none of it was real. The messages, the photos, the feeling of being watched. The feeling was real, Kate said. But the explanation, that someone was watching you, that part was your brain trying to make sense of your anxiety. I wanted to argue, to insist that what I had experienced couldn't simply be dismissed as a neurological misfire. But doubt had crept in, undermining my certainty. What now? I asked finally. Dr. Lowenthal can see you this afternoon, Elaine said. And Detective Reyes said he'd stop by later to explain what they found in your apartment. Would you be willing to meet with them? I nodded slowly, suddenly exhausted again despite having just woken up. Yes. I guess so. Kate squeezed my hand. It's going to be okay, Alex. We're here to help you through this. I looked from my sister to my ex-wife, both watching me with identical expressions of concern. They believed they were helping me, that I was experiencing some kind of psychotic break. And maybe they were right. But as I reached for my coffee, my phone lit up with a notification. Not a text this time, but a calendar reminder, Dr. Lowenthal, 2 p.m. I stared at it. I hadn't scheduled this appointment. I hadn't spoken to Dr. Lowenthal in months. Did either of you set up this appointment? I asked, showing them the screen. They both shook their heads. You must have done it yourself and forgotten, Kate suggested. Maybe. Or maybe someone else had access to my calendar. Someone who wanted me to believe I was losing my mind. I sipped my coffee, saying nothing. If my mind was playing tricks on me, I needed help. But if someone was manipulating me, making me question my own sanity, then showing my hand now would be a mistake. Either way, I would meet with Dr. Lowenthal. And Detective Reyes. And I would listen to what they had to say. But I would also keep watching. Waiting. Because if someone was out there, using my own technology against me, I would find them. And if that someone turned out to be me, some fractured part of my consciousness I couldn't recognize, I would find that too. For now, though, I smiled at Kate and Elaine, pretending to accept their explanation. You're probably right, I said. I haven't been sleeping well. Everything seems clearer in the daylight. My phone lay face down on the table between us. Silent for now, but for how long?